In a letter that Jagmeet Singh, I believe, is about to or just posted to social media, he writes that Justin Trudeau failed in the biggest job a prime minister has, to work for people, not the powerful, to focus on Canadians, not themselves.
Instead of focusing on these issues, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are focused on themselves. They're fighting themselves instead of fighting for Canadians. For that reason, today I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go.
Jagmeet Singh, leader of the New Democratic Party, has officially announced his intent to table a motion of non-confidence against Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government.
Right now, Canadians are struggling with the cost of living. I hear it everywhere I go. People cannot find a home that they can afford. They can't buy their groceries. And on top of that, we have Trump threatening tariffs of 25%, which put hundreds and thousands of Canadian jobs at risk. And instead of focusing on these issues, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are focused on themselves. They're fighting themselves instead of fighting for Canadians. For that reason, today I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go.
This bold and unforeseen move signifies not only Singh's discontent with Trudeau's leadership, but also marks a turning point in Canada's political landscape. The announcement carries the possibility of potentially ending Trudeau's tenure as Prime Minister and setting the stage for a federal election much sooner than anticipated. For years, Trudeau's government has faced mounting criticism over its inability to tackle critical issues such as healthcare, housing affordability, and the rising cost of living. Now, Singh's declaration boldly states that the Liberals' time in power may be nearing its end. As we move forward, I'd like to ask you a quick favor to subscribe and like this video. It helps so much. Thank you. Singh has delivered a critique of Trudeau's leadership, accusing him of neglecting his fundamental responsibility to work for people, not the powerful. The reason for Singh's criticisms is an economic crisis that has left many Canadians struggling to make ends meet. The soaring cost of living has made basic necessities like groceries unaffordable for countless families, while housing remains out of reach for many across the country. These economic pressures are compounded by external threats, such as the potential implementation of U.S. tariffs under Donald Trump's policies. Such tariffs could devastate the Canadian economy, putting hundreds of thousands of jobs at risk. The foundation of Jagmeet Singh's decision to bring forward a motion of non-confidence was laid during an emergency caucus meeting of the New Democratic Party. This meeting, organized amidst growing public and internal dissatisfaction, sought to clarify the party's strategy going into the new parliamentary session. The outcome was a decisive shift. The NDP would no longer wait for leadership changes within the Liberal Party or hold back on the possibility of a federal election. Leading up to the formal announcement, Singh dropped multiple hints about the NDP's growing impatience with the Liberal government. In a series of interviews earlier in December, he made clear that all options are on the table, signaling the possibility of withdrawing support from Justin Trudeau's minority government. These statements were accompanied by Singh's repeated calls for Trudeau to resign as Prime Minister. On December 20, 2024, Jagmeet Singh released a formal letter addressed to Canadians, marking a historic moment in Canadian politics. The letter outlined the NDP's decision to table a motion of non-confidence when Parliament reconvenes in January 2025. Singh's message was unequivocal and resolute, declaring that the Liberals' time in government was over and calling for a fresh mandate from Canadians. The letter sharply criticized Justin Trudeau's tenure, highlighting his failures in fixing healthcare, addressing the housing crisis, and alleviating the financial burdens faced by Canadians. Singh accused Trudeau of working for the powerful instead of the people, a damning critique that resonated with widespread public discontent. The letter also pledged that the NDP would continue to fight for better governance. It revealed Singh's dual opposition against both Liberal mismanagement and the perceived threats posed by a potential Conservative government under Pierre. Faced with the looming non-confidence motion, the Trudeau government has limited options to maintain its hold on power. One potential avenue is discontinuing Parliament. By doing so, the government could delay the motion of non-confidence temporarily, buying time to regroup and strategize. However, such a move could be seen as a desperate attempt to cling to power and might further erode public trust in the Liberals. Internally, the Liberal caucus is reportedly grappling with significant discontent. Many members are concerned about the party's declining popularity under Justin Trudeau's leadership and fear losing their seats in the next election. This has led to increasing calls within the caucus for Trudeau to step down as Prime Minister. By replacing him with a new leader, the Liberals might hope to rebrand and salvage their electoral prospects. However, leadership transitions are complex and time-consuming, and it is unclear if such a move would be sufficient to appease voters. Should the non-confidence motion pass, the most immediate outcome would be the dissolution of Parliament, triggering a federal election. This scenario would mark the end of the Trudeau government's tenure and provide Canadians with the opportunity to decide the country's political direction. The likely timeline for the election would fall in late winter or early spring 2025, depending on the precise timing of the motion's passage and the subsequent procedural steps. In this scenario, the Liberals would face an uphill battle to regain the trust of Canadians. The new Democratic Party, under Jagmeet Singh's leadership, would position itself as the champion of working-class Canadians, while the Conservatives, led by Pierre, would likely focus on economic issues and smaller government. While Singh has made clear his opposition to the Trudeau government, Poilievre is critical of Singh's delay in taking a more decisive stand. The Conservatives are keenly aware that Singh's hesitations have left space for their own messaging, which typically centers around fiscal conservatism, smaller government, and economic recovery. As the NDP and Liberals clash, the Conservatives may benefit from a fractured left-wing vote. If the Liberals are unable to stabilize under new leadership or find a way to cooperate with the NDP, Poilievre's party stands a strong chance of capitalizing on the political chaos. The growing rift between the Liberals and NDP could further weaken the progressive side of the electorate, making it easier for the Conservatives to present themselves as the more stable and economically focused option, especially in a time of growing economic uncertainty. As the motion of non-confidence potentially leads to a federal election, Canadians will have the chance to determine the direction of their country. It is a moment for voters to hold their leaders accountable and decide whether the status quo under Trudeau is acceptable or if it's time for a change. This democratic exercise will allow Canadians to choose between a future shaped by Singh's progressive policies, the economic-focused conservative vision, or a potential new chapter under Liberal leadership, depending on the outcome of the internal party crisis. The upcoming months will determine whether the country continues under a beleaguered Liberal government, shifts to a more progressive NDP government, or turns toward a more conservative future under Pierre. But what do you think? Should Canada chart a new course under Jagmeet Singh's progressive vision? Would a conservative government under Pierre offer the solutions the country needs? Or is there still hope for the Liberals to address these critical challenges? Your voice matters. Let us know your thoughts on Canada's political future.